What's going on, guys? This is episode 5 of Tech Habit Weekly. This is being recorded on July 16th, 2013. I'm Bob Roche, as most of you guys may know, and joining me is Dontae Harris, aka Casey Nightmare on Twitter. So he was on last show, and a lot of you guys seem to like him, and we're kind of fond of him too. He can stick around just for a little bit until he makes us angry. So we have a bunch of different stuff lined up for you guys today, a bunch of different stories from a bunch of different vendors and manufacturers, random stories, and of course at the end some tech treats for you. So we have our first story here. Dontae, go ahead and kick it off.
Okay, our first story here is going to be about the budget iPhone. Now, we've been hearing different stories about this budget iPhone, and I don't know if any of you guys out there in the world have been aware of this. Now, apparently, they think that Apple's supposed to come out with some sort of a mid-range iPhone, and I'm not too sure what the different specs would be on that. And in my personal opinion, I feel like it won't come out. That's just my opinion. Only because I'm trying to think of, well, they already have an iPhone 4, an iPhone 4S, and an iPhone 5 currently out right now. So to me, I would think that that particular iPhone would have to fit maybe in between ranges of an iPhone, maybe 4S and 5, maybe slightly better chip, and better camera, things like that. But
hmm
also, I don't want it to turn to, there being so many Android devices and things like that, where there's one that's a step down, a step down, a step down, a step down, and a step higher from the flagship phone. I don't know what your opinions are on it, Bob, but honestly, I think it won't come out. But if it does, I will be very curious to figure out what's going to happen as far as specs wise coming from that particular iPhone.
Yeah, it's really hard to see. I mean, it would be very cool if like a budget iPhone came out, only because it would appeal to like maybe a wider range of people. But then again, Apple has never really been about that. I mean, Apple knows that they make premium products and they're for people that want premium products and are willing to pay for the premium products. So this doesn't really fit with Apple's style, like you said. They have a very good thing going on with the iPhone as it is. 4, 4S, 5, 5S. It makes sense. It's simple and it's not confusing. So by introducing like is this phone here that's kind of like a in between something, or like as you mentioned, like an Android device, in that it's a step down from this phone, which is already a step down from this phone. It seems like it would confuse a lot of people. But now from like this web page, what a lot of people have suggested is that there could be multiple colors here. And this is something that I think it would be really cool to see if Apple finally got away from just having black or white. If they could have, like a green, or kind of like how I have an iMac sitting back there. Can't really see it, but that's one of like the translucent blue ones. A lot of people would probably like to have that, as it kind of, this is my favorite color, so I'm going to wear that as my phone. Do you think Apple would go about having different colors for their iPhones?
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that if they were to come out with that for the purpose of being able to, I guess, personalize and customize your iPhone, which fits your needs a little better, I could definitely see that. Only because of you have to
hmm
look at the lineup of the iPod Touch. They went from just having a black or a white, and there's a huge range of colors now, and that can fit different characters' personalities and things like that. And people like to have variety as far as colors and whatnot. And now you got to realize that Apple's been doing really great this entire time with just only having two basic colors. And it's worked just fine for them. But to implement more colors for people who really want that, I think that would be a great touch from Apple to have that implemented into the product. But as you were saying, they already have an iPhone 4, a 4S, and a 5. Honestly, if you come out with a budget iPhone, we'd almost need to have a new name, wouldn't you think? And then, I mean, I've seen some mock-ups and different things that apparently there's some photos that have been leaked from China or Japan or somewhere. And the things that I've seen, it looks like it's made of plastic, almost like your 3G and 3GS were back in those days. But also, it has an elongated screen, such as the iPhone 5. So I'm not too sure. There is a lot of speculation about it. I'm not too sure what will happen, but if we were to see that, I think it'd be good for consumers, because they can have a wider range in colors and whatnot, and everyone likes to match things to their favorite color. I mean, most people, if they had a choice when they bought a brand new car, they're going to pick the color that they want, not the color that's exactly given to them. But also, you have to realize that if it's a premium product and if it's something that only comes in one or two colors, you're buying it anyway. It doesn't matter. You'll just take your preference out of the two. So.
Yeah, and I think that, like I said, the color could bring a lot of consumer choice and everything. But I mean, if you're going to bring out a new line of the iPhone, I think even more important than the colors, though, is just going to be, the performance. I mean, you want it to be fast enough that the normal consumer is it's going to have a fluid experience. but you're also going to want it to, save your company money. You're not going to want to invest a ton of really powerful hardware in this. So do you think that, on the inside of this phone, we're going to see, what was it in the iPhone 4S, like the A4, A4X, or I forget all the processor names, but it was the first dual core chip. Do you think that Apple would put, an existing chip into this budget iPhone, or do you think they'd make maybe a custom chip for it, or memory, anything like that, screen even? What do you think we'd see in it?
Well, I think that if they were going to use a chip for it, I believe they would use the same chip that they've had before, almost like your iPad 2 to your iPad mini. If they were going to go that route, I believe that'd be a lot better for the company as far as cost efficiency to be able to bring that budget iPhone to consumers. I don't believe that they will just bring a brand new product out to make a cut like that, and that's just my assumption anyway. I feel like if they're going to give this product to people, it's going to perform pretty good. And I'm thinking if it has the same processor like an A5 or something, it's compatible. It's good enough to handle the different load. And with iOS 7 coming out and things like that, it needs to be able to handle that and not lag and things like that. Of course, you have to realize that the 3G and 3GSs, which are available for that particular software update, and that's pretty dated. So I don't believe they'll step too far back, but I'm not sure if they'll step too far forward, with there being rumors of an iPhone 5S and things like that on the horizon as well. You don't want to put something out there to cannibalize your next project, and that's just my opinion on that one.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, Apple, like I said earlier, they've never been about, appealing to everybody. They're going to appeal to people that they want to have appealed to them, I guess, if that makes sense. But, whether we'll see it or not, that's to be seen. Whether these mock-ups will come to light, if a budget iPhone does come out, if it has colors and all this stuff, definitely remains to be seen. Do you think it'd be something that we'd see maybe like a fall release?
Fall release, I think it's too close for a fall release, only because of there's so many products that are already coming out, and there's things that we haven't heard anything about yet. I haven't heard anything about a 2013 Mac Mini. We haven't heard anything about a next generation Apple TV. There's a lot of things that, and a lot of products that Apple has and things that they're focusing on, because there's still rumors about the iWatch and things like that that are coming. I don't think that Apple, and normally we all know Apple doesn't normally flood the market with 30 different products at one time. They do gradual updates to keep the appeal and keep the focus and the want and the desire to be able to gain those products. And I think that's why they've been so successful in the past, because to me, in a business standpoint, I think they have a very good formula by not flooding the market. You just give them nice things to look at, and anticipation for those users who may want to have an Apple desktop, but maybe they can't afford the Mac Pro per se, and or they say, well, man, I love a desktop, but I don't need the performance exactly of a Mac Pro, which is more of a pro user. Maybe someone who's a graphic artist or a huge video editor, or a music artist or something like that, and you may just want something like myself. I'm using a 2012 Mac Mini as of right now, and it's great. I love this thing, and there's just different things for different people. So I don't think they'll flood the market, and so maybe sometime next fall, maybe we may see something like that. But by this fall, I don't think so. But with Apple, you never know.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, Apple, I think they're kind of in a phase now where they're trying to be a little bit less predictable. So who knows? Maybe we will see something that, comes out this fall that we just really didn't expect seeing. But
Correct.
tell us what you guys think in the comments about this story, or watch it on iTunes. Tell us on YouTube, on Twitter, wherever you are watching this, what you guys think about a possible budget iPhone coming to light. But what we're going to do now is going to move right on to our next story, and that's T-Mobile announcing Jump, which basically lets users of T-Mobile have an anytime upgrade, sort of a club, I guess you can call it, for $10 a month. Do you think that other carriers could see this and kind of react to it, have their own version of this? I mean, being able to upgrade your phone at any time rather than just once every 2 years is a big deal to some people. Would that really pertain to you?
Oh,
Could you see yourself
definitely.
taking
Definitely.
advantage?
As a person who has had every version of the iPhone since its launch, I have to strategically buy the iPhone at certain periods because of my upgrade. Now, normally we know that Apple does an annual release of a new phone, and usually, I mean, your normal contract is 2 years. So either you're going to come out of pocket or try to find some way to come up with the rest of the money by maybe selling your previous phone or something like that. That would definitely benefit a person like me. I mean, if I could just pay an extra $10 or $15 a month on my regular cell phone bill to be able to upgrade every single time, because I know I'm going to be one of those guys that are buying the iPhone every single version that comes out. I'm just that guy. And other people, they may not be that particular person, but I've got 99 problems, but tech ain't one. So I figured if that was something that it, helped me to be able to upgrade a lot faster, it'd be the greatest thing, And I guarantee that we'll see more companies doing that, T-Mobile Jump Service, and have versions and different things like that, because it is a very good way to rope in customers, because you don't feel like you're tied to your phone for 2 years. That's a long time. Technology changes every single day. Honestly, if you had your phone, or maybe not your phone, but some software, things like that, for more than, I say, 6 months, it's pretty much obsolete and outdated. And because the rapid market of technology is always overturning, that we need to have those things, and we need to be able to have options to upgrade when we want to, instead of feeling like you're tethered to a ball and chain for 2 years. I think the T-Mobile Jump Service is a excellent implication of something that helps consumers out throughout the life of their contract. And I think it's a great thing, and I think that it's only going to grow from here, and everyone's going to jump ship on that. I think that's a very good program.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. One area that I see that's really shining is for people that maybe have had an iPhone or have had an Android phone for a while. And you know what? They're looking to try something else. Maybe an iPhone user wants to try Android for a little bit. Now they don't have to wait 2 years in order for that to happen. And if they do switch to an Android phone and don't like it, then they're not stuck with that phone for 2 years. I mean, this gives, I mean, granted, you'd have to buy the phone, which isn't exactly cheap. You have to, I think this plan allows you to trade in your old phone and get like or not points, but I mean money towards a new phone. Not exactly sure how it works because I'm not a T-Mobile customer, but I think this will definitely give people more, I guess, opportunities to really be able to use all the different, companies out there. I mean, people can switch from a Windows phone to an Android phone to an iPhone on a month-to-month basis if they really wanted to. And so that gives people the freedom to take advantage of all the different tech that's out there nowadays.
Correct, correct. I agree 100% on that. And also, you have to realize that we're more in a market of flexibility. People don't like really being tied down to anything. How would you like it if Windows said that you can only have Windows 8 Pro for on your computer for 2 years? You can't do anything in between that, but there's software updates and different OSs that are coming out in the meantime. I mean, you'd feel like, well, I'm not sure if I want to do this, because just like anything else, operating systems and things like that become obsolete. It'd be the same thing if Mac OS said, hey, you have to have, say, line 10.7.4, and 10.7.5 comes out. Well, that's not the one you signed up for. You signed up for this particular one, but in 2 years you'll be able to upgrade. I mean, I believe that it just gives people more flexibility. It helps them, be a little indecisive, at times. I mean, I'm sure there's plenty of people out there and on the message board and on the chat who have maybe bought an Android phone, for example, and figure out, maybe 6 months into it, I'm not really liking this phone too much. And well, you have two options. You can buy another phone outright because you've already used your upgrade, or you maybe can try to sell it on eBay or something like that. And it's a lot harder for a person to offload a cell phone or something like that, instead of just going in and say, hey, I paid my $10, every month. I'm going to switch to this phone. And it'll be a lot easier for consumers. So I like the plan. I'm not a T-Mobile customer myself, but I like the plan. It sounds great. And as it catches on, I believe it will. I think people are going to be hooked. This is going to be like the next thing in mobile devices as far as contracts go. I think it's a very good thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And this kind of leads right into our next story. And we just said that, maybe other carriers will start to do this. Maybe Verizon or any of these other like international carriers could even start having like a monthly upgrade deal. But now moving on to our next story here, AT&T Next lets you upgrade your phone every year, but it's not cheap. Now, this is basically sort of the same thing that T-Mobile's doing, but this one is a bit different. It's differently structured. And in this little article here that we have here, we'll have it linked in the show notes for people that aren't watching live. But one line here is, this was what really stood out to me. Customers can trade in their phones after 12 months or pay $20 and then keep the device. So, I mean, compared to the T-Mobile version of this plan, do you think that, the AT&T version could be a better way to go, or is it maybe more expensive because more people use AT&T, or I mean, are you an AT&T subscriber right now?
I am an AT&T subscriber right now, and with the knowledge of this particular article here, now to me, and this is my personal opinion, I feel like that is not a very good deal for customers, and I don't know if they chose their price points because of the vast market and that they actually have, or in AT&T is it's a company that's been around for a long time, so people are going to stick to what they know. And I
Mhm.
believe that if a person really wants to go with that program, that they're going to pay either way. And I think that T-Mobile is just trying to get a little more leeway to maybe swing customers their way to have lower price points and things like that. But as far as AT&T service, I really can't complain about the service. So um, if I were going to make a choice in between the two, I would definitely stay where I'm at because I like the service that I'm getting currently, and that they've adopted pretty much the same program that T-Mobile has. I think it's a good thing, and also with the higher price point, to me, I don't think it's a good thing. But honestly, if you don't want the program, don't pay for it. But if you do, that's how much it's going to cost. And I feel like it's just going
Yep.
to, test the person, and see, okay, well, do you want to pay all this money up front now, or do you want to pay some along the way and have it taken care of? Now, I've seen that when you start to average it out, you start looking at things and you start going, well, wait a minute, am I paying off this entire phone in between that time, or am I only paying a portion of it? Now, that's yet to be seen. I know the different plans, you have to do the math on it, but I'm sure customers from every um, or a carrier will find something that suits their financial needs and their needs for their technology and make it work for them.
Yeah, and that's what's awesome about, as to where we're going is that even whether it's the phones in our hands or the plans that those phones are on, it seems that customers are getting more and more choice as time goes on, and that's a big deal. But related to this, I actually just found this. This is right from an article. The plan is structured a little differently than T-Mobile's Jump, which is $10 monthly, as we previously discussed. With AT&T Next, you're paying for the cost of the device itself spread out over, a period of months. So say, for example, you have a $200 phone and you choose to pay maybe $50 a month, it would take 4 months. And then I think how it is that once that device is paid off, then you can trade it in for a new device and keep your current device. So I think that that's how this is going to work. Would you see yourself doing that? Say, for example, if you going from the iPhone 5 you have now to when, say, an iPhone 5S comes out, could you see yourself, paying off, quote unquote, the phone you have now to get the new one early?
Oh, definitely. Only because of the fact that most people, and if you're like myself, you don't like to spend a lot of money up front. And if you are allowed 4 months, say even 6 months, if you can see your phone down the way to be able to go ahead and pay for it and pay it off per se, I would definitely adopt that program because if you're going to take all your money at one point and give it to the retailer to get your new device, you might as well just pace yourself and give yourself payments. I think that'd be great. I mean, there's a lot of people that have, you know, multiple lines and things like that. So what if, say, you and your girlfriend or whatever have two lines in between each other? You're available for an upgrade, but she isn't. Say she's 6 months out, and you're like, well, hey, if I just put an extra, $15 to $30 a month in, and at the same time we can upgrade and things like that. I think it would work great, in that aspect of it. But yes, I could definitely see myself adopting um, that program to ensure that I get the latest tech and latest iPhone every time that I want to upgrade, and every time that it comes out. That'd be great.
Yeah, cool. And especially, us being tech geeks, we always want to have our hands on the latest and greatest tech. This whole idea of, getting phones early, this is not going to appeal to everybody. A lot of people, they literally just need a phone. It doesn't even have to be a smartphone. They just need a phone to communicate with people. They don't need the latest and greatest. But for us tech geeks that always like to have our hands on the latest and greatest, get this stuff reviewed, get our hands on it, it seems that everyone can win this way. We can get what we want, and of course, the company is going to get a few extra dollars out of our pocket every month. So it seems that it's going to be a win-win for everybody. And in case you're curious, this starts 10 days from today, July 26th. So if you guys are on AT&T, then like you are, Dante, this might be something that you guys want to look into, especially if you're watching this show, because you obviously have a habit of talking tech. Therefore, you're probably a geek, nothing personal. But so moving right along here, we do have a little bundle for you guys. This is the Stack Social promotion. This is a summer bundle, and included in this bundle, this is something that's really awesome for all of you guys. If you have a Mac in your life or someone that switched to a Mac but misses Windows a little bit, this bundle here features Parallels 8. And Dontae, actually all of us actually own it. But go ahead, Dontae, tell us your experiences with Parallels 8, and do you think this bundle is worth the price tag?
Oh, definitely. I mean, Parallels 8 alone is the biggest selling point to this particular deal. And I was very excited to see this summer bundle come out. And honestly, from a person who actually owns this software, I don't know if you guys can see, but this software is $80 by itself. So with the entire bundle, there's 10 different apps here, and the value of this entire package is $482 worth of Mac apps for just $49.99. Now, to me, I use it to run my virtual machines. I have Windows, I have Windows XP, I have Linux, and you can run your operating systems simultaneously. I mean, side by side, I could have Mac OS open on one particular window and have Windows open on the other. Oh, it's great. I mean, if you think of a person like myself who works on computers and does virus removal and different repairs like that, I need different platforms to be able to plug into. I don't have the NTFS file system in Mac OS. So when I use Parallels, I can plug right in USB, and then I can choose which OS to connect to throughout my USB devices. And once I do that, I can do my virus scans and search hard drives and things like that, and even format hard drives with the OS. Now, that to me, it's the greatest app that has ever come out for Mac, and it's a must-have. I absolutely have to have it. I can't do my side business without it, and it's a great deal. I mean, people may think that the price may be a little steep, but you're getting a lot of apps in this particular bundle, and these apps are, I mean, they're great. I mean, honestly, like I said, the Parallels 8 app, I can't stress enough how big of a bundle this is, because that program alone costs more than the entire bundle, and you're getting 10 apps. So I think it's great. I love it. I mean, Terrell, our producer, he has plenty of virtual machines, and he uses them simultaneously with his Mac Pro, and it's a very good deal. I think it's a great deal for anybody, because if you look at the deal, it's pretty much 90% off of $482. It is a great deal. I think that everyone should check this out through Stack Social, the summer 2013 Mac bundle featuring Parallels 8 desktop for Mac.
Yeah, I use Parallels 8 all the time as well. And what a lot of people might not realize is that Parallels, although being a virtual machine, you can still run some older games or things that require video power too. I mean, you can get in there, you can customize the amount of memory that it allocates, the amount of processor cores that it can take, the amount of graphical power it can take. So, I mean, I've actually done this. I've had OS 10 on one monitor, I've loaded up Parallels 8 on the other, and I actually played Grand Theft Auto San Andreas in Windows via the virtual machine, all the max settings. And, granted, it's an older game, but still, to be able to do that through a virtual machine, full settings, and it's just awesome. I mean, you can really run even graphical intensive things right next to each other. That alone is worth $80, let alone in this bundle being only $50, plus you get 9 extra apps with it. Now, some of these extra apps include Snagit, which basically is the Command Shift 4 or Command Shift 3, the screenshot stuff on steroids. I mean, you can do a ton of different screenshot stuffs, add watermarks on the fly, stuff like that. Typinator, which is kind of like an iOS keyboard in that you can have custom shortcuts. So if you type OMW, it puts on my way. So little shortcuts like that. You get WinZip, you get Jump Desktop, which is kind of a remote desktop client. You get all these different applications for $50. And this is one great thing about being a Mac user. It's hard to find a Mac app that just is not good. I mean, a lot of Mac apps are awesome, and when you can get them in a bundle like this, I think it's just great. So I don't know if anyone here, like Terrell, the producer, or Dontae, the other host here, has had experience with these other applications. But if not, and you're looking for some applications to try out, to show to friends, this is definitely a great time to do it, because you're not going to find them at a price any lower than what this bundle is advertising. So that's our little, I guess, tech tip of the week. Go ahead and get your hands on this bundle. Bundle lasts for about 7 or 8 more days, so you definitely want to pick that up even if you're interested in Parallels. This is a great deal for that. So that's the the Stack Social bundle. Now, moving on to our next stories. These next couple of stories we're not going to talk too in depth about. This is just some stuff that's happened throughout the last week, stuff that's not as big of a deal as we think these last stories were. And the first story we have for that is that Google Maps now has an update for Android that allows the ability to save maps offline. Dontae, is this something that you would want, say, on your iPhone, maybe the Google version of Google Maps for the iPhone or anything like that? Would you use offline maps?
Absolutely. And I'm just going from experience that I've actually had before. There's been times where I've had a poor cell phone signal and or a poor GPS signal, and it would have been nice to be able to download the directions directly to the device to where I could have all my directions that where I'm currently going offline. There's been times where you say you're going through mountains or something like that, and then your device goes blank and you're like, oh no, I don't know when I'm going to get another signal. I've never been through this particular territory before, and it could make a ride a little nerve wracking. Now, to be able to download that and have the directions always on your device as soon as you type in your directions, it'd be a lifesaver. I mean, there's so many people traveling now that it is almost a must. I'm actually surprised that this hasn't been implemented a long time before. And yes, definitely, that would be a great implication into the software, because coming from a person like me, I use my Maps app for pretty much everything. I use my cell phone for pretty much everything. So to have that right there at your fingertips, and when it comes down, when data is poor and signals poor, I mean, that would be excellent. I mean, it's just a fail safe. I think everyone would love something like that, just to make sure you get to where you're going, if anything.
Mhm.
Regardless if you get a cell phone signal or not.
Yeah, I could definitely see myself using this. I would really hope that this would come to not only Android devices, although I can understand if that was the case, Google wanting people to use Android, saying, hey, if you use Android, we got offline maps, pretty neat. But it could be used to entice people that way. But I think it would be smart of them to bring that to the Google Maps iOS app. And I mean, I think they will in the future. It might not come right away, but it is something that I would really love to see, especially if you have like a 3G iPad with that nice big screen on it. So it would be really awesome for navigating apps. And like you said, if you're in Colorado traveling through the mountains and you just don't have any cell coverage, that could really save you hours of trying to navigate, get back on track. So like I said, this not a humongous deal, but it's definitely something that can make navigation and traveling just that much easier. Also, coming up next, we have Motorola X, Motorola 10. I'm not quite sure, honestly. The phone demo leaked. Now, judging by the Moto X, this seems that one of the big features of this phone is Google Glass-like, and that's that you can just simply talk to it and have it do things without you ever even needing to touch the device. Dante, do you think this could be something that you would use on a daily basis?
Oh, definitely. Now, there's one problem with software that's like that. I've had comments before over things being a gimmick, and my thing is, if it works, it better work exactly how it worked in the demonstration video. I mean, the lady, she sat there and she was on her computer, on her desktop, and she just simply talked to her phone in a low voice, just regular room voice. She wasn't screaming at her device or anything, and it picked up everything she said pretty fluidly. And now, if it's going to work, like I said, it better work exactly the way it did. Now, the only problem is if that thing is listening all the time. I don't know about yourself, but I feel like that will run into some sort of privacy issue. What if it
Absolutely.
picks up something that you may have said as a joke, and is that going to be taken wrong? I mean, can you say call 911, then it calls 911? Or if you say you got to get out of here, I'm trying to kill you, you not do it, and is it going to call the police on you? I'm not sure if that's going to happen. Now, those are things that have to be sorted out, but here's the problem with that. Now, how do you differentiate what is a person's demeanor, as far as that's an emergency, my phone needs to do something for me, or if you're just having normal speech? If I'm talking right now, will my phone constantly go off picking up some of the things that I'm saying? So it's definitely something to look out for. It's definitely something that I can see implemented more once things get finalized and maybe work out some bugs or anything, things like that. But you got to realize, in demonstration videos, they're just going to be the best working product on the face of the earth,
Oh yeah, of
But once
course.
you get in your hands, it may be a little difficult. to deal with in normal speech settings. And then you have to think about, what if you're in a crowded setting? What if you go to a concert? Are you going to reach in your phone and see that you're calling your mom and, asking for directions and, different things like that, and set reminders that you didn't try to set? Now, I think that would be a problem if you had to situationally enable it or disable it. I mean, oh, wait, I'm in a crowded subway. Well, let me turn this off. Or, oh, I forgot I turned it off from the subway. It didn't catch anything I just said. Those are the questions that I have, and I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. But I mean, if it works just the way it did on the video, it could be a very, very scary device. And I mean, in terms of in a good way. So we'll see what happens with that. We're definitely going to keep our eyes open and see what's going to happen with that.
Yeah, I mean, I wonder if maybe Google will bring this to other phones, and I'm also curious as to how it works. I mean, on Siri, when you talk to Siri, it goes down to Apple servers, gets processed, and comes back. I wonder if this maybe is being processed on that phone there. If it's being processed on the phone, then there's going to be a lot less room for error. Say, so for example, if you're on a 3G connection, all of a sudden 3G, you don't have a good 3G connection, now you're just switched down to edge speeds. That's when Siri starts to get really slow. So I mean, if it's on the being processed on the device itself, there's going to be a lot less room for error, and overall it might just hear you better. I mean, and like you said, if you're in a crowded area, I mean, this thing needs to have some pretty decent set of speakers and microphone on it to be sure that it's trying to cancel out anything that's unnecessary, or that it would try to determine as unwanted and unneeded audio coming through. So there's definitely tons of room for error with anything when it comes to actual talking to things. I mean, there's so much going on. If there's a fan on, it could affect it. So definitely tons of room for error. It'll be interesting to see in real world performance how this does, how it holds up to all the other phones out there, things like Siri and S Voice and everything like that. But now on to another story. Details of the Hyperloop are coming. Dontae, go ahead and tell us what the heck is a Hyperloop?
Now I'm not sure if anybody has really heard of this. Now, you guys just bear with me for a second, because the things that I'm getting ready to say, it's absolutely real. It apparently exists and it's going to be in the making here soon. Now, I'm going to get a little Star Trekky on you in a second here. Now, basically, the Tesla founder promises a Hyperloop. Now, Hyperloop apparently is going to be some supersonic form of transportation that's supposed to be faster than pretty much the speed of sound. Now, basically, I guess it's supposed to look like, almost like the mock-up image has, people in almost, it looks almost like a subway terminal. And apparently you're supposed to be able to travel from downtown Los Angeles to downtown San Francisco in under 30 minutes. Now, it's really weird. I mean, they said they leaked all this information last year, and it's supposed to basically replace, cars and trains, people that, Greyhound buses and things like that. Now, it claims that it can transport people in a car traveling 4,000 miles an hour, and and that's internationally, and 350 miles per hour domestically. So it's possible basically to get to New York to LA in 45 minutes, and Washington, D.C. to Beijing, China in 2 hours. Now, if you guys don't understand the geographics of where these particular places are, that's a lot of ground to cover very fast. Now, I'm not even sure exactly what the technology entails to create this particular device. And also, you have to think of things like traveling over international waters. How's that going to work? So will we see something, maybe a tunnel type system that goes underneath the water or something like that? Honestly, it'd be great. I mean, you could honestly forget your keys in China and say, hey, I'll be right back. And I'll be right back in Kansas City in, just a couple hours, and say, hey guys, I'm back. Sorry, what were we talking about again? Now, now you got to think of things like this. How much would something like that cost? Will this be just a service for premium people? Are these for your Donald Trumps and your billionaires and things like that? Because if so, then that's just another thing. It's like, oh yeah, that's out there, but I'll never be able to touch that thing. Then you have to think of, safety risks. I mean, traveling that fast cannot be safe for the body. I mean, you've got people who can't take certain G forces to the body and they'll pass out. So I'm curious to see how they're going to implement that, and the force and whatnot on your body. Now, if this comes to light, we'll definitely see some details here in the future. But it says, it just has these different details by August 12th, and I'm not sure. I mean, I'm very skeptical right now, but
Absolutely.
this is technology. Things happen. I mean, whoever thought there would be a camera inside of a phone? I remember the first time I thought of it, I thought it was just going to be a gigantic camera with buttons on the side, and you can put it up to your ear and dial out with an antenna. So technology definitely surprises me and surprises everyone else. So we'll see what happens with that. But yes, Tesla, Hyperloop, we'll see the details as they come.
Yeah, I mean, August 12th is less than a month away. I mean, it's coming up real quick, so they
Now
must be working their
I'm
butts
gonna be
off.
straight with you. If they have this thing up and running by August 12th, I'll use it to get to my mailbox. I am dead serious, because I mean, traveling has always been a hassle with our highways getting more and more congested. So definitely that would be a great thing to do. But like I said, cost efficiency is always a big deal too. And I'm sure people will pay more, than a normal plane ticket and things like that to be able to get to vast distances very fast. But how at what cost? That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, you have to think about it. If you have literally hundreds, thousands of miles of like some kind of a track laid out, just that alone is going to be really expensive, let alone the electricity it's going to take to get it to run across those at those speeds. A ticket's not going to be cheap. I mean, like you
Right,
said, it's
right.
probably going to be for your like Donald Trump or like the president. If something happens over in a different country, it's for the president wants to go make a speech, then that's going to be the quickest way to get him there. Probably the safest way too, if it's all underground, under the ocean. I don't think there's going to be any crazy instances of like a fish getting in there. But I mean, it's definitely going to be interesting to see how this unfolds and how it would be if it would be above ground or below ground. I honestly don't know how they're going to pull this off, but there's some crazy engineers out there that make all kinds of crazy stuff happen. And
And, and
maybe
to and to actually stay on
go
this
ahead.
subject just a tad longer, you could think of some of the benefits for something like that. You got to think of like United States troops, things like that. You'll be able to deploy people or send people very fast or bring them out very quickly instead of maybe having not having the resources in a particular area. Say they're in Afghanistan or something, and if you can hyperloop them to a better, say, medical facility or something like that, I can definitely see the benefits of having something like that. But just the details of it are so vague right now that I'm just not exactly sure how they're going to implement that. I
Yeah.
mean, you could do, I mean, crazy things. I mean, I'm just thinking of things right now. I mean, what if you want to go fishing and ice fishing in Antarctica? It's probably possible with the Hyperloop. I'm just not sure exactly how that's going to work. I mean, right now to
Yeah.
me it just doesn't sound safe, but we'll see.
As if the world wasn't already a small enough place. Now we're going to be able to get across it in a matter of hours. I mean, it's just
Exactly.
crazy to think how far we've come with transportation. And I mean, who knows? Maybe there'll be some kind of online deals where you can buy these tickets on the Hyperloop. Who
Yeah.
knows? The
I
world
mean,
may
just
never know.
think of people's profile pictures on Facebook then. You're like, yeah, buddy, I took that here picture down here in Paris. When was that? Yeah, about 20 minutes ago. Yeah, just got back. Looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm gonna post it on there. Looks nice. Yeah, you should like it. You should like it. Do that. Give me a thumbs up on the like. I like that. So, but we'll
Yep,
see. We'll definitely see
there's going to be
what's
those
going to happen.
people that in their profile pics, for somehow they're going to be some kind of window on there. They're going to stick their head out and have their hair blown back.
Right. In the
So
Hyperloop.
exactly. It's called the Hyperloop. Look it up. Anyway, moving on to our next story. This is about Microsoft, and they're set to reveal a new smartwatch in a variety of colors. So apparently, the whole variety of color things is really coming to fruition with all these different companies and new tech. Now, we talked last episode about the possibility of an iWatch, and of course, that's nothing new. That's been around for a while. But if Microsoft were to release a watch, what do you think it would do? Would it integrate with Xbox? Would it be part of a Windows PC, or how big would the screen be even? I mean, what do you think would be part of a Microsoft watch?
Oh, definitely with a Microsoft Watch, I could definitely see some Xbox game content coming to it. Also, since they have like Xbox Arcade, they have some lower res games and things that won't graphically exactly hurt your system. I could definitely see them implementing things like that, and you can see who's on your friends list, who's playing, things like that, and maybe be able to, maybe live feed into some games or something like that, and just to kind of sit in a lobby and watch things like that. Now, one thing that I would like to see if they, when they do this is will they have some sort of mobile office or something like that? But then you have to get into screen size as well. You have to realize if people are going to wear this on their wrist, I'm not going to wear 10 inches of screen on my wrist, and I'm just not sure how much technology they'll put into it because you want to make it advance yet keep it simple at the same time. We saw what happened with the Zoom, and the iPod pretty much destroyed it, and now they have it as just pretty much software now. But we'll have to see, what they want to do with that. I mean, maybe video content, maybe short clips or something, maybe a front-facing camera or something like that. I'm not too sure, but it'll definitely be interesting to see what happens with that. But Microsoft, you have to watch them because they're kind of tricky too. Sometimes they'll come out with something that's so out of the gate that it just becomes interesting, and you're like, "What? What are you talking about?" And then you end up being more dialed into it, and Microsoft, they're not afraid to take risks, and they've been scrutinized before for taking huge risks, but if they're going to come out with this particular device, I think they're going to at least have at least one feature that we're all going, oh, we need to check that out. So we'll definitely see what happens with that here in the future.
Yeah, absolutely. I have an article put up here about, the supposed watch, and it says that it would probably have its own 4G LTE antenna in it and 6 gigs of internal storage. Of course, that's mostly going to be for the operating system. But I mean, say for example, you have maybe a gigabyte free on your wrist. I mean, what would you put on there? Like, what? Say for example, maybe you could put a couple songs on there and have some wireless earbuds. You could be like talk to your watch, say, change the song or anything like that. What kind of functionality would you, I guess, expect out of a little watch like this? Do you want it to connect to your phone? Do you want it to be it's on its own device? I mean, what do you think you'd use it for?
What I would use it for, personally, is, maybe there's some sort of a running app or something, and maybe you can track how many miles you've ran and things like that, and you can just get that, like an accelerometer or something to kind of measure the distance and different things as you're going. It doesn't have to be tied to, maybe linked to your shoe or something like that. I think that would be a good implement as far as that watch goes, and but as far as exact like space, I couldn't tell you. I mean, the space of things that I would actually have on a watch, I think would be very small. Reminders, text messages, things like
Yeah.
that. Things that wouldn't exactly take up a lot of room. I'm not going to be playing Crisis on full settings on that thing. So there's going to be, you know, different things. I mean, I'm pretty sure people aren't going to start a small file server on it. I mean, but to have that much space, to me, it sounds like you were correct about it's just pretty much to hold the operating system. But I'm just not sure because I mean, how many apps and what could you really do just from here? So we'll just definitely have to see. I mean, I don't know if they'll maybe take almost like a Google Glass approach and just give it, maybe a few buttons, but with certain gestures or something on it. I mean, we'll just have to
Yeah, I mean, I
see what
feel that
happens.
with since it has its own antenna on it, I feel that most of it's going to tie into cloud services. Like you mentioned, maybe like a reminders app or something like that. Maybe it'll just sync back to your Windows desktop at home. It has its own antenna to do that. It doesn't have to be paired to a phone that's in your pocket. So you it could pull in, things like reminders, or when I get to the grocery store, pop up a little checklist, and then I can, make sure I have everything I need without having to pull my phone out of my pocket. So I think it could be just like a little device like that that is basically all cloud based. Every service that I can connect to out of the box, or even developers could build in the future, will be all based on the cloud, and it could just pull in stuff as it needs it. So I think that's all that would be. I have no idea in terms of a price point or when we would see it, but do you think that you'd get one?
Honestly, I don't believe I will, only because there's still a lot of speculation. I mean, I'm a type of guy, I want the meat and potatoes. You can't sell me the steak off the sizzle alone, and I'm just one of those hands-on guys. I've got to see, I'm kind of old school tech. I like to see my product, see it work, see some videos, demonstrations before I'm sold. You can't sell me, the box, but don't tell me what's inside of it. That's just me.
Yeah, I'm the same way. I mean, I don't think I would use Microsoft services enough. I mean, maybe if it could somehow integrate with Apple stuff, which I know is not going to happen, but that's probably the only way that I would really use it. I mean, I don't use any, like, say for example, Microsoft did have some kind of, reminder service or something like that.
And
I
they do
wouldn't
have the
use it because,
SkyDrive. I mean, they
oh,
have the
that's true. Yeah.
SkyDrive and things like
See,
that.
that
So,
shows how much I use Microsoft services. I mean,
hey, there you
I'm
go.
not that, it doesn't fit into my tech. I have an iPad here. I'm running OS 10. I have an iPhone in my pocket. I'm an Apple kind of guy, and an Apple kind of guy is not going to buy a Microsoft watch.
Right,
Basically, what it comes down to. So,
right.
coming to the last topic of today's show is Apple releasing Logic Pro 10. Now, Dante, do you do any work in audio or anything like that?
'em. Not very much, but when I do, I honestly wish I had my Logic Pro app. I had an older version of it a long time ago that I paid for, and just after OS updates and things like that, it's just really it's not very good right this second. So it's a very good app to tweak audio and things like that. And people like music producers and things like that, you can clip and do different snaps like to like the smallest measure to be able to edit different words and things like that. And it's a very good app. And I think that pretty much anytime anyone sees a Logic Pro update, it's a very good thing. I mean, these programs are very expensive. They're good to have, and a lot of people recommend them if you're going to do anything with audio. So, it's a good release. I mean, people have been wanting updates and wanting updates, and this is just one of those things that is going to be good for everyone, I think, especially if you use these different things, because they even have a deal with, I believe, the iPad um, that you can actually implement to your MacBook Pro, your iMac or Mac Pro, and things like that that'll make them all run the same. I mean, there's like different drum tools and things like that.
Mhm.
People can play around with it. Different people that maybe like GarageBand and things like that. You will definitely love to be able to edit the different measures and different things and make snaps and and drums and pianos and things like that with this particular program. So one thing that you'll like about it, that it has a more modern look to it, and just having the ability to control it with an iPad. I mean, it's nice. I mean, but it comes at still a little steep. It's still $199, but it's the
Yep.
same price as the last version, so that's good. So you don't feel like when you're getting these particular updates that it's because you're getting more content, it's costing you and costing you more.
Yeah, yeah.
So, but this is definitely not for your regular user. It's definitely for a person who knows what they want and knows they need a powerful program to edit, and it's a very good deal. Logic Pro X, I mean, good deal.
Yeah, my brother, on my YouTube channel, some of you guys might not know this if you never watched the video, but I actually have a brother who's way into audio production. I mean, he plays bass, he plays guitar, so much so that he built a recording studio in his basement, and he uses his Hackintosh to get all his friends over with his interface, and they actually have an album that just came out. So he does a lot of audio production, uses a Hackintosh, and uses Logic 9. Now, I just told him about this morning because, this just came out very early this morning, and I asked him, a few questions like, would you right now without looking at it, would you buy this for 200 bucks? And he said no. I mean, he's very happy with Logic 9 the way it is now, and he doesn't have an iPad that can take advantage of that. He might not need a whole new interface, he might not need all these things, so he's definitely going to have to look up some YouTube reviews and see what people really think about it before he shells out another $200 for it. And I think that's going to be the case with a lot of people. I mean, if you look at the interface, it looks very similar to Final Cut Pro 10, and we all know how that went. A lot of people came from Final Cut Pro 7, and now maybe this whole Logic, now that it's Logic 10, just how it was to Final Cut 10, maybe they stripped out some of those professional features and made it a little bit more consumer, a little bit more mainstream.
Right.
Professionals aren't going to like that. So before you go out and plop down 200 bucks on this thing, you're definitely going to want to see some YouTube reviews about it. You're definitely going to want to, if you don't have an iPad, okay, that's cool. I don't have an iPad. What else does it got other than just, a redesigned interface? So that still remains to be seen. Maybe it's more efficient on your processor. Maybe maybe it does have a ton more features, but we'll just have to see how that plays out. I mean, like I said, my brother doesn't want to invest $200 in it yet. He's going to really have to see. And I wonder if this is going to be how like Final Cut 10 was, in that you could go to Apple's website and get like a 30-day trial of it before you go out and buy it.
Right,
That I
right.
think would really give people a better peace of mind to see, actually get their hands on it before they, like I said, plop down $200 on it. So that's our thoughts on Logic 10. Let us if any of you guys are audio producers, work with a lot of audio in the comments, or wherever you're watching this, be sure to let us know what you think about the new update. And if you bought it, then tell us more about it. But now we're going to move to the very last segment of the show, and that's discussing our tech treats of the week for you guys. These treats are nice and sugary and nice and awesome. So Dante, go ahead and kick us off.
Okay, my tech treat today is an app that was actually launched in 2010 called IFTTT. It stands for If This, Then That. Now, this particular app, it will save, depending on what your service is, maybe Instagram or Facebook or Twitter or things like that. You can upload pictures to automatically be sent to those particular services. So if you want to change your, I guess your Twitter avatar on the fly or something, you can just snap a picture. It gets uploaded to Dropbox or whatever service that you may have for different cloud storage, and be able to change those things right on the fly. You don't have to sit there and then go into your other app and then try to upload it and wait and get all the. To me, it is going to add different style functions to your camera, your contacts, and different reminder apps and things. And it just has a few tabs on it to update your Twitter, Facebook, and Tumblr, things like that. Foursquare checks it. I mean, Evernote. It is a very good app, and check it out. It's for free in the iOS App Store, and just give it a try. And leave me a comment down, and just tell me how you like it.
Absolutely, and I think this is a great app too because in iOS it's not like Android where you can tell it to like a certain application to be the default for something. You can't really do that. So by doing this, you could say when I take a picture, automatically do this. It makes it that easy so that even if you don't have that full control of telling what app to open what, I feel like this gives you the user a little bit more freedom. And I'm sure this is going to be updated more and more and more, and
Oh,
there's going to be
definitely,
more what they
definitely.
call recipes, in the future. So this really allows iPhone users to get that feel, I guess, of being able to do more things other than what Apple was programmed into automatically default to. So I think that's an awesome tech treat. I have it downloaded myself personally. I've been playing with it. And Dante, before the show, you mentioned that you're going to get some of like the hardware accessories that let this turn on your lights and things like that. Are you still looking to get those? I mean, do you think you'll use them a lot?
Yes, and hopefully, if the electric company does their job this week, I'll be able to have the particular device that where I will be able to control my lights and things from this particular deal, and that is going to be great. And as soon as that gets in, you guys can definitely expect a video review from me personally to show you guys how it works and the costs and things like that to maybe get this implemented in your guys' house to change your thermostats and turn lights on and off and things like that. It's supposed to be a pretty big deal, and being a techie just like myself and maybe other people would love to be able to do this from the fly. Now, the reason why I want to do it is because when I travel, I want to be able to turn on my AC or something if I let the house just get sweltering hot or something. I'm like, oh, you know what? It's almost a few hours out. I better turn this on. That way I come to a nice, cool house, but also save the money in between that time that you're not utilizing the house when the house is empty, things like that.
Absolutely.
So I will definitely give it a review for you guys once that gets updated and just go from there. So
Yeah, I think like being able to control stuff in your house while you're not there is absolutely awesome. And one thing I really would want to come out with is like a company that does kitchen appliances, like a microwave, not like a microwave, that's kind of dumb, but like a stove. Because there's been plenty of times where like, dude, I'm dying. I want to go out and get a pizza, so I go out and get a DiGiorno. On my way home, I want to be able to start to preheat my oven, so it's warm, by the time I get home.
absolutely.
That would be
Matter
awesome.
of fact, I would probably gain 25 pounds the first day because of something like that. Because
Exactly.
and just think about it. Say if you have a programmable coffee maker or something like that. Well, wouldn't it be nice to if you have a certain time that you normally would program itself on the coffee maker, then you can just say, you know what, I need to change that for tomorrow, but you're somewhere else, and then you just change it right there. You don't have to exactly go to your particular coffee maker and set it yourself manually. You can just do it right there from your phone. That would be great, or your tablet or your laptop or something like
Yep.
that. That'd be great. I mean, I definitely can see more and more devices becoming implemented like that because the wider ranges of Wi-Fi and connectivity and different Ethernet. ISPs and download speeds have went up tremendously, especially if you think about 4G LTE speeds and
Oh yeah.
things like that. So I can definitely see a lot more products being implemented with that. But yeah, that's a good question. I would like to see more, modern appliances and things like that be said because who knows? What if you forget to, oh no, I forgot to turn
Turn off
on
the
the
oven.
washer or turn off the oven or something like that. I think that would be a good deal. So we'll definitely see what happens with that. And like I said, guys, I will definitely get a review up for you guys as soon as that thing gets installed. But we'll see, because sometimes now I don't want to put any labels on anybody, but sometimes you call, customer support and there's a little, but I'm just saying that's it. But we'll definitely get a review for you guys as soon as that happens. And you know how it is, my friend. We will hook it up for you as soon as we can. So we will see.
Oh man, KitchenAid, Whirlpool, you heard it here first. We want a cut of however
Yeah, I
much money you
definitely. I
make.
want residuals. I want residuals for every time someone says Whirlpool. I mean, everything. I want it.
Awesome tech treat, definitely pretty sweet. My tech treat of the week is it's an app that, unlike Dante's, is not new. It's been around for a while. I'm sure a lot of you guys have even heard of it, but it helped me out tremendously the past week, and that's Log Me In. Now, if you don't know what this is, this lets you basically set up. I guess it gets to be called like a server on your desktop or even like your laptop if you leave it on, and you can access it via an iPad or I think they even make an Android version of it, iPhone, anything like that. And so where this helped me out, the other day is I went over to my parents' house because my dad had to restore his Windows machine. So any gadgets he was using or anything like that, that I had on my computer that he didn't have, instead of having to re-download them, actually Google them first, find them, and then re-download them and stuff, I have them on my computer. So what I was able to do then was log into my computer via the app here, which I'll go ahead and I'll load up here. But then I was able to actually upload them to my server from my computer, go to the URL in the web browser, and then download them without ever even having to leave the house or try to scour Google for all these different things. So it can definitely come in handy. Or if your email client isn't configured on here and you forgot to send that email, or you need the attachment from that email on the fly, you can go into your computer, upload it, and have it download it right onto your device very simply. So here's the app here. I'm not sure how well you guys are going to be able to see this, but you have all your list of machines there. And so we're just going to go ahead and try to connect here. And just like
Nice.
that, there's my Windows machine that's sitting right over here. And of course, I'm on the same Wi-Fi network right now, but this also works over 3G. It works from, any Wi-Fi point that you're connected to. So like I said, I was about 20 miles away at my parents' house, still able to connect to my computer and freely move the mouse to whatever I needed to do. I can't tell you how many times that's come in handy just this last week. And there's other apps out there to do the same thing, but Log Me In Pro or Log Me In is free. Log Me In Pro, I think it's like $6 a month or something, and that has a couple more features. But if you guys haven't checked out that app and you've been in that situation before where you kind of forgot something on a computer that you could really use right now, absolutely check it out. So
Yeah,
there's
good.
those are. Oh, go ahead.
I like that. Yeah, and Bob, I just wanted to add in that this particular app helped me out this week already. At my day job, I forgot an email, or I'm sorry, not an email, an attachment of a Excel file that I had on my desktop. I didn't email it to my boss, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that file's at home. So I was thinking, you know what? I'll just log myself in. So using my iPhone 5, I logged into my Mac Mini and was able to, send the attachment as an email through my Mac that was sitting on my desktop and it over to my boss. So it is a tremendous, tremendous app. I recommend it for anyone who has, an iOS device. And I mean, it's free. I mean, you tap right into your home network, and you can do this from anywhere. I mean, I've even played a prank on my girlfriend before. I would come, I would, turn the radio or the my music up really loud, just scare. So if you guys want to give somebody a good scare, you could just do that if you just want to try it out. But it's very good. I mean, it looks very great on my iPad Mini because it's bigger. Of course, the phone it suffices, but I like the fact that the mouse moves around the screen instead of everywhere you touch is exactly where your
Yes.
mouse directs. So that's a huge thing. I use it all the time for my Apple TV. I'll be upstairs or something and say I forgot to put something into my iTunes library. I'm like, well, I know it's on my hard drive, on my external hard drive. So I'll log myself in, find the file, and AirPlay it right there, and it works perfectly. Or you can also mirror your desktop to your Apple TV, which may be in a different location, and play it and use your audio to shoot HDMI out and things like that. So audio works just fine. You can browse through your library, go through Finder, things like that. It's your entire desktop in the palm of your hand, and it is the greatest thing ever. And like you said, Bob, there's plenty of other apps that do it. I know that, but I've tried a few, but to me, Log Me In is the best app for that. It works great. I mean,
Absolutely.
you can type. I mean, you can, your keyboard can come up. You can hide your keyboard, things like that, shortcuts. I mean, it's great. I really like that app and recommend it for everyone to at least just give it a try.
Yep, and like you say, like you were saying, you can have your desktop in your hand. Not even that, you can have your desktops in your hand. It's cross-platform. You can switch
Yes.
between Windows machine, Mac. I don't think they have a Linux version, but I'd be surprised if it's not at least in the works or at least cross their minds. But it's definitely a very cool technology, and it works amazingly well, especially considering that awesome price tag of free 50. So that's all we have for this episode of Tech Habit Weekly. Dante, thank you very much for joining us. You're going to be a regular on the show for the people that are asking. And go ahead and tell them a little bit about yourself, where they can find you, your work.
Dontae Harris once again. You can find me at twitter.com at KCNightmare. And right here on this particular YouTube channel, I'll be here for Tech Habit Weekly and One Place for Apple. I want to give another shout out for our producer, Terrell Clark. And you can find him at One Place for Apple, One Place for Tech, and things like that. And just thanks for having me, guys. You guys have been great. And we'll see you guys next week.
Yep. Catch you guys later. As you all know, I'm Bob Roche. Nothing crazy there. And you know where to find me. You know where to find me on Twitter at CPU Kid. If you're new to this podcast, let us know you like it by liking it on YouTube, putting some comments down there, anything you'd like to do. And we hope to see you guys back here for episode 6 next week on Tuesday.